morning, as it is almost lunchtime. The topic of today's Conscious Coffee: difficult conversations that can save your relationship. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to go about this conversation with everybody on here, because these are the conversations, as we are sitting in a state of isolation, a lot of at-home time, a lot of time with our significant others, our partners. There's a lot of relationship challenges that are arising from this time frame. I was reading on a couple different relationship websites and, advice sites and everything about some of the things that are coming in. And I'm like, wow, am I ever seeing, that as well in my practice and life? And, it's being stated over and over again that one of the things that COVID is definitely doing is that it is breaking apart relationships, and it's also bringing relationships extremely close. And the reason why we have these two drastic ends to this stick of isolation is that a lot of people are being faced with the truth. The truth is coming out. And, there's only so long that you can be in residence with somebody and basically stuck in isolation where you're basically trapped with another person before the boat starts to get a little bit rocky, right? The waters start to move, because funny little thing in the world of relationship, what ends up happening is that at times of stress and frustration, worry, panic that we happen to be going through as a world society right now, some of the things that that guys go through is that to deal with stress, guess what a man wants? A man wants more sex. Sex reduces stress. Why stress? Have sex, right? That seems like a very logical way of going about it, because sex really alleviates a lot of different things. It definitely gets the blood flowing. It releases positive, chemicals from the brain, hormones, all of this different stuff. And guys are like, yeah, let's get to the sex. Let's have that. And that allows them to have a lot less stress. Well, the flip side of this, unfortunately, is that for us ladies out there, the majority of women need to have limited stress in their life in order to get turned on, in order to be interested in sex. So the stress boosts men's sexual desire, and stress reduces women's sexual desire. That right there, just that alone, is definitely causing a massive challenge in relationship right now. But what else is going on is that there's a lot of people that are together, that have settled or are just in a long-term relationship, a marriage. They have children together. They own a house together. They own a business together. They've been together forever. And the sex really hasn't been that great, because, the average couple out there has sex anywhere from 2 to 4 times a month. Okay. And that's really, really doing good, because there's a lot of over 50% of marriages today are sexless. Over 50% of marriages are sexless. I was just talking to somebody about their sexless relationship. They're not even married. They've been together. They've been dating and living together for a couple of years, like 5 years or something. And she even referred to the guy as her boyfriend. She's like, my live-in boyfriend, She's like, we haven't had sex for this long, and now all of a sudden he won't get off of me. He won't leave me alone. I have absolutely zero space for myself, and I can't handle this, and So they're living together, they're in living quarters, and they haven't had sex, and it's just not there. But now he's stressed. He wants sex. She's stressed. She really doesn't want sex. Now they're coming together. And what is that doing? That's causing this massive rift in relationship. So there's a lot more fighting going on, a lot more tension, a lot more frustration. And then we have the awesomeness of that as ladies, a lot of us have a tough time communicating this stuff to our guys, right? Like, we stink at communication. And guys, you stink at holding space for us. Like, it's just really tough for a guy to hear that he's not getting the job done, right? That's not what any man wants to hear, is that he's not getting the job done. He wants to be Mr. Fix-It. He wants to be the hero. He wants to please his woman. He wants to please himself. He wants to experience all of this. But unfortunately, a lot of the time, that's not happening. The reason why she's not wanting the sex is because she's not getting it. She's not getting fulfilled. So all those awesome hormones I was talking about, like what guys experience, they get the whole drop down and they're like, yeah, I can conquer the world. This is amazing. Oh, amazing, amazing, incredible sex. That was phenomenal. Oh my God, babe, you're great, blah, blah, blah. And the woman's just like, yeah, that happened. Next, like, I'm going to go do the dishes. I'm going to go do the laundry. I'm going to do something that I actually feel some productivity around, because I didn't feel that. I didn't feel it. I didn't connect. It wasn't long enough. You changed positions right when it started to feel good. You don't know my body. You didn't give me time to warm up. I'm thinking about all this other stuff. You're wanting it at this time. You're wanting the quickie. You're wanting the blah, 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 blah. The hormones are not dropping down. The hormones are not filling my body. And when a woman, as I posted the last couple of days, I shared some old articles of mine that are very pertinent to this time frame that a mass amount of couples and relationships are definitely going through. And that is that women have been oversexed. And I mean, like, having lots of sex, more sex than what they desire, when it's getting kind of pushed on them in times of bringing relationships coming together and in space together. And so women are having more sex, but they're not having more orgasm, or they're just getting the tip of the iceberg orgasm, which is a clitoral orgasm. So that's just like, you've been walking in the desert for 3 months and you're totally parched, and you've just been getting little drops of dew moisture in the morning, and that's the only water consumption that you're getting. That's what a clitoral orgasm is like to a woman, is just getting a little bit of dew in the morning, and you just get this little drop, and it's just enough to just cause your mouth to get a little wet, but you are still just, oh my God, you're so dehydrated. You're so just, you need so much more. Women need deep orgasm. Women need time. Women need to be able to really lean in and get into the orgasm, which means that they need a partner that can hold that space. They also need a partner that can handle the truth share on that. So back to the conversation we go, right? The truth talks, the difficult conversations that can save your relationship, especially at this point in time. As we come together, more and more in our households, relationships, these conversations are coming up more and more. A lot more people are saying, I don't want to do it. I don't want the sex. You never give me an orgasm. It's just all about you. I'm always giving. I'm just feeling used. It hurts. It's this, it's that. All this stuff is coming out. And there's a lot of bitterness that rises up when one party is not, and this goes both ways. When one party is not getting fed sexually, there is bitterness that is created in the relationship. There is distancing that happens. And the more that occurs, the greater that pot of bitterness and distancing is. And now we're all stuck in houses together. We're stuck there with this other person that we're frustrated with, that we're bitter toward, that we're angry, that we wish that they would just understand, that they would just see. So we bring up a conversation, and where it spouts out of our mouth in some way, because what else is happening? We're all drinking more alcohol, right? So we're drinking more alcohol, and now we're speaking our truth more. Anybody who says, oh, I was just drunk, ignore that. No, actually, alcohol brings out the truth because it softens our filter. We don't have that filter to prevent ourselves from saying what we've been wanting to say or that we've been needing to say. So we spew it out with a little bit of alcohol in our system. So the truth actually is revealed. Our true frustration comes out. Our true bitterness comes out. Our true pain comes out with a little bit of alcohol. And then all of a sudden we have a whole bunch of fights going on. Domestic violence is increasing, right? All of this stuff is happening. There's so much more going on a home front right now. And a lot of it is because of the difficult conversations that are happening and how they're coming about. My whole message to you today is that don't avoid the difficult conversations. The difficult conversations must happen in order for you, if you want to save your relationship, if you want to create a healthy relationship, then you have to bring this stuff to the table. You've got to, whether it is the man or the woman that is struggling sexually through the midst of who knows how long, or just this time frame of isolation, whatever you're feeling, whatever is going on with you physically, mentally, emotionally, it's important to bring it to the table. It's important to offer that to your partner and allow them to be able to at least offer that they can hold space for you. Maybe they can't. Maybe they retract their love. Maybe they turn angry. Maybe they shut down and they start to blame themselves, or they feel as though you are attacking them or something. But if you do not have the conversation and you just keep swallowing it and you just keep taking it in and you just keep keeping your mouth shut and you don't speak what is actually going on with you, that right there, that lack of communication is going to build up more resistance to love, more resistance in the relationship than actually just getting in there and having the conversation. Now, I do suggest that you don't do it with alcohol on your system. I suggest that you do this without anything on your system, to come at it from a place where you really can have a logical conversation, to speak your truth without it getting all crazy, because alcohol also builds on things and can exaggerate things a little bit. So I do encourage you not to drink, but to communicate without alcohol in your system, to actually maybe write it out, to put down like, what's the one thing that I really need to tell my partner today? Like, what is this one thing that is really causing some frustration in the relationship? Where's the space that I'm not feeling seen, I'm not feeling heard, or I'm afraid that I'm not seeing, I'm afraid I'm not hearing, I feel some distancing going on in our relationship, I feel too much neediness going on in our relationship. Whatever it might be, that's what you need to look at and then communicate that to your partner. Offer it up and say, hey, I really need to have a discussion with you. And it's okay if you can't handle it, or you need to take a pause in the middle of our relationship. You need, in the middle of this conversation around our relationship, it's okay if you need to breathe in this moment. That's okay. But what I do need is I need to vocalize this. Speak it to your partner. I was, over and over again, as I work with couples, one of the things that is said, couples will walk into my office and they'll tell me in their consult how great they are at communicating. Oh, we're the best of friends. We tell each other everything. We're great at the communication thing. It's just our sex that needs a little bit of help, but we're great at communicating. We talk about everything, like we're on the same line on everything. We're totally in alignment. But the sexual piece, that's where we got some trouble. Like we're not coming together in the sex very well. He just doesn't want it. She just doesn't want it. He wants too much of it. She wants too much of it. Whatever. One wants vanilla. One wants something else. Whatever's going on. So they're like, ah. And then I get them in there and I separate them and I have a conversation with each person. And then I'm having this conversation, and yeah, they do want the same things. 90% of the time, the couple wants the same thing. But they want it in different ways and they don't know how to speak about it. And they're terrified to tell their partner their truth. They're terrified to say, hey, this is what I need. This is not what I'm getting. This is what I really feel like our relationship needs. They're absolutely terrified of doing that. And when I ask them, have you shared this with your partner? They go, no, I couldn't. I'm gonna hurt their feelings. That's like a total gut punch right there. Like they're gonna feel really bad, and I love them and I don't want to hurt them, and this is all me. Like it's all me. Or they're like, oh, it's all them. But man, like they don't listen to anything anyway. I've been trying to tell them this for the last 5-10 years, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, it's pointless. It's pointless. If I say anything, they're going to get mad. They're going to go into this yelling fit. They're going to just not speak to me for the next week. They're going to treat me like I'm, like put me out in grounding or something, and all this different kind of stuff. So we have these fear of what's going to get triggered if we communicate. unfortunately, if we live in this lack of communication, a couple things happen. Number one, we're not giving our partner the opportunity to make a decision to stand in that communication, to breathe it in, and to offer up their communication back, their share, their emotion, their thoughts, how they want to move forward, what they can and cannot do. So we're basically making a decision for them without even including them in that, if we hold that. Okay, so it's really important to offer that up. And then the other thing that happens, of course, is that we might potentially stoke a fire that we don't want to stoke, right? Especially if you're in a nasty situation, and if you are in one of those nasty, more domestic violence situations, then this is definitely not the topic for you. I'm not encouraging you to go and push on any buttons. I'm talking about the healthier relationships out there, and that do have these conversations. But maybe your partner gets into a yelling mess. Maybe your partner goes into poor me mode and just basically goes and cries in a corner. Maybe your partner goes and shuts down and distances themselves from you. Those are all difficult things to breathe in. Maybe it's some combination of all of it. Who knows? But that's a very, very tough thing, because the last thing you want is to have a rift between you at any time, especially in a point of isolation. But as we sit in this isolation, we're also being given an opportunity to do some good, deep work on ourselves and on our relationships. This is an ideal time to communicate. This is an ideal time to practice presence. This is an ideal time to have some inquiry with your partner, to dive deeper, to get to know your partner of today, because the partner of today is a different partner than the partner that you got with however many years ago it was. Okay, that person has changed and over the course of time, and it's a great offering right now to really do that inquiry and to re-meet your partner today. Many years ago, many years ago, I was married. And I'll never forget this. If my ex-husband hears this, he's going to go, oh my God, she never forgot that statement. That's not what I meant by that. Which is another thing, right? Communication, miscommunication. We say something and it gets represented a little bit wrong, taken wrong, and then we're like, that's not what I meant. Nonetheless, we cannot help how one person perceives it, how one person takes it in, holds it, hears it, or thinks about it. And just like we can't prevent how we are feeling either, right? So many, many years ago, my ex-husband said to me, we had a difficult conversation of this nature. And it was toward the end of our marriage. And I know that I was definitely contemplating divorce. I was contemplating an affair. I was contemplating a whole bunch of different things because I was dried up. I was so dead to life and exhausted and bitter and frustrated and empty and hungry, so hungry, not for just sex, but hungry for depth, hungry to be penetrated at a deep level. And so I shared this with him, and I told him that sex was kind of like, it had gotten to a point that washing my hands was more pleasurable, and that that it did nothing, and I just was not, I didn't want to do it anymore. I was just like, I'm done. Like I am done. Because what was happening was we would have sex, I would please him, he would get off, and I would be in pain. And then the next morning, we would get up and we would have a horrible day. Like we would fight. And it was because I was so mad about the sex, and I would just go in and I would start nitpicking. He couldn't do anything, right? Because I felt like I was just basically his masturbation tool at this point. And I was making some crude statements. But I remember having this difficult conversation around our sex and around the lack of potency that I was experiencing, because I was experiencing zero. Having plenty of sex. I've always had lots of sex, but plenty of sex. It was just like empty. So freaking empty. And I had told him that, this is how I feel, and I'd rather not. And I'll never forget, he looked at me and he said, I asked him, I said, what would you rather? Would you rather me not tell you this and, just keep it to myself and just go on about it and just keep bearing and grinning it and just, you get yours and we just continue on and see how long this lasts, where I'm just getting used. I'm just your masturbation tool and I'm just getting used. Or would you rather know the truth and let's work on it? And in that moment, the statement that I'm sure that he could kick himself for, was that he told me that he would rather that I at least just give it to him, that I just suck it up and I just give it to him because he needed it. He needed it for his stress. He needed it for different things, and it's just like he really needed that. So I was just more like my duty to make sure that was taken care of. And I got so pissed off about that. So pissed off. And, well, it went on for a little bit. I ended up having an affair, which was such a lifesaver in that moment because that was actually what probably kept me going for quite some time. It prevented me probably from doing some extreme level stuff. Like, who knows? I have a temper. If I'm totally depleted, I get kind of like really, really pissy. Talk about bitchiness. I definitely have a level of bitchiness that is untouchable when I am depleted. And I was accessing that at that point a little bit. So that statement that he made, I was just mind blown. And I felt no love, absolutely no love from him in that moment. I felt used. I felt like, well, that's it. This is how this ends right here. It ends in this statement because there is no love in this, right? Later on, fast forward a few years, actually quite a few years, and many, many boyfriends later after my divorce. And I'm with another man and we're in a serious relationship. And I remember that we were probably about 4 years in on our relationship. And he had completely retracted. Like, he didn't even want the sex. He wasn't even into the sex then. He was just like, he wasn't wanting the sex. Nothing was going on. The relationship was just kind of like, we were having issues. But we had an open relationship where my marriage was monogamous. Now I was in an open relationship. So I was getting fed from my other guy. And we're a couple guys, that I had serious relationships that I had outside of him. But he was my primary partner. And I was getting fed, so that I was not at that like drastic level. But I remember coming to him and having a difficult conversation around this and going like, I really want to work on us. I want to work on us. I want to spend time with us. I want to make this work. I want to have the sizzle. I want to have the connection. I want to be able to feel you again. I want you to feel me and me to feel you. And he looked at me and he said, we just don't have the time for that. We just don't have time for that. And I said, can we just take like a half an hour a week? Can we just take a half an hour a week to just communicate, to just talk so that we have some connection? And he looked at me and went, we don't have time for that. And then he retracted. He retracted his love. He retracted his attention. He retracted his touch. He retracted even the conversation. And it went the opposite direction. I share these stories with you because that's not the right answer. That's not the good answer. That's not a relationship that's supposed to exist anymore. Okay? When that retraction happens, when you get the response of, well, you should just do it anyway. I don't care what you're going through. You should still just give it to me anyway because I need it and I hear you, but I don't really care. That's not a healthy response. That's not a response based in love. That's not a response that is based in what a true relationship is. That's a response based from a need position, somebody who that is just using. The other response of we don't have time for that is a statement of, I'm really quite done with this relationship. I don't know how to speak it. I'm comfortable. I like kind of just things to keep going on here, but we don't have time for it. When you know that you damn well have time for it, because like a half an hour a week, if you don't have time to spend an hour a week communicating with your partner, your significant other, then they are not your primary focus. They don't really matter in your life, okay? It's putting wherever you put the focus and attention, that's what matters. So look at what you're applying your attention and focus to. And if you're not willing to actually do the inquiry, to spend the time to have those difficult conversations, to hear the hard truth, to speak the hard truth, then the relationship's not worth it. You're not in it for love. You're in it for need. You're in it for something other than what you're trying to make believe that it is. So those are not the right statements. Now, if you come into this conversation and you have something, else going on where the person's like, whoo, that I didn't see that coming. I mean, I knew that we were having trouble. I knew that you were having trouble, but I want to know more. What can I do? How can we work on this? What do you need from me? What, let's talk about it. Let's experience, let's explore, let's look at options. This is more of a problem-solving mindset. This is more of a, I'm going to get in here. I don't want to hurt you. If they turn around and they instantaneously push for whatever you just shared, and then it's just like, I didn't hear you, and I'm going to just push right directly to that again, that is back to the need, the using. That is not the actual relationship. If you care about what your partner wants and needs, where they're at mentally, emotionally, and physically, then it's important to listen to the difficult conversations and actually heed to what is being said, not just go, yeah, okay, let's do this anyway. Like, I heard you, but it doesn't matter. Because every time we push our partners to the side like that, we cause a wall to be built. We put more space between us, and the inevitable will happen. The inevitable being that the relationship will come to an end, but the damage done to both partners in the process is astronomical and not needed. So if you're really, this is like during this point of isolation, I predict that as we come out of the COVID, world COVID challenges and crisis, that what we're going to see is we're going to see a mass number of people separating. And for those that don't experience actual violence going on, because the people that aren't violent are going to become violent after a period of time if there's enough pressure applied to the situations. And for the people that are not going through violence, that are just holding strong in different ways, but are not in the relationship for love, but are in it for need, are not there because they really truly want to be there with their partner. They're not turned on to their partner. They're not in love with their partner. They're not there for, the relationship, everything that it has to offer, not just the sex, not just the comfort, not just the money, not just the house, not just the safety, not just the, at least I'm waking up next to somebody. Those people, some people will make it. Others, I'm telling you, watch this. Relationships are going to go in the midst of this. There's going to be a lot of conversations going on and a lot of split ups going on. And there's also, for all the singles out there, a lot of people that are going, man, I really want to get into a relationship because I don't want to live my life in this state anymore of being alone. But here you guys go, even for you singles, difficult conversations. They're difficult for a reason. They're hell important. They're very, very important. And if we don't have the communication, if we don't have the conversations, then we're destined to, for sure, destroy the relationship, or at least live a really sad existence together. Because that's all we're going to be doing, is existing together. Have those difficult conversations. Write them down prior. Don't drink alcohol doing them. Look at what's needing to go on. Sit down, prep the ground for that conversation. Prepare your partner. Say, hey, I want to talk to you about something later. It's something that I've really been wanting to talk to you about. I haven't wanted to share it because I'm worried about how you're going to receive it. I'm worried about, what's exactly going to take place, but I really need to share this aspect of me with you, this feeling that I'm having, these thoughts that I'm thinking, how I'm feeling. Start like that. If you share that you have wanted to bring it up for a long period of time, but you have been fearful of doing it because of you don't want to hurt the person and you're scared of what their reaction is, instantaneously the other person goes, whoa, there's nothing to be worried about. I can handle it. We come into a place of compassion with our partner there, and it allows us to actually have a better conversation. And then we state it as such This is what has been going on. This is what I'm feeling in my body. This is what I'm feeling in my heart, in my thoughts. This is kind of like my crazy that's going on. And this is what I'm needing. This is what I'm needing to have happen. I don't know how to achieve this. I need your support. I'm speaking this because I don't want us to break up. I don't want us to have the challenges. I don't want this. I want us to get stronger in this time frame, not weaker. This relationship is my priority. It means the world to me. What can we do together? That's what you say to your partner to really bring up those conversations. Of course, fill in the blanks there. Okay, hold on. I saw somebody popped up on here. Hey, Addison Craig. Sandria. Keisha J. Wow, you are far more... Thank you. I'm far more psychotic and evil. Okay, well, great. Thank you, Jay. So, with that note of me being psychotic and evil, I guess, I do encourage you to speak your truth, to have those difficult conversations, to speak your love to your partners, to let them know what's going on in your hearts, your minds, to really allow yourself to feel everything in this time frame. Isolation is difficult. Relationship is difficult. Telling our truth is really difficult. But it's worth it. And if you love the person that you are with, or you want to practice, you can have these difficult conversations with yourself as well. For all the singles out there, have the conversation with yourself. Like, what is it that I'm wanting in my life? What is it that I'm needing in my life? It's important to look at that as well. But to take this time to clear some of the things instead of hiding them, instead of shoving them down and allowing them to erupt in a much larger format down the road. Speak it now. Communicate it now. Allow yourself to be heard and offer the opportunity to your partner to receive you. Because if you're not giving them the opportunity to receive you, then you're limiting their ability to hear you, to feel you, and to make their own choices in the relationship. So really allow yourself to go there. On that note, I have created a free group here on my business page that is for anybody who wants to learn a little bit more about different things such as this, but we're going to go more in depth. The things that I share in that group coming from this coming week forward will not be shared anywhere else. It will only be shared in that group, so you will not have access to it. It's not going to be conscious coffee stuff. It's not going to be in my articles. It's not going to be in any coaching programs or anything like that, or any other little live streams that I do. It will only be available, the content will only be available in that group, and it is called Confessions of a Sex Coach. So this is real truth talks that I am doing every single week to share a little bit of what really goes on. As a coach and have worked with thousands of people at this time, and things that I have heard, the things I've seen, the things that I have experienced, I want to get those out there because there's a lot of truth that needs to be revealed around our sex, around our intimacy, around our relationships that's unspoken, and it really truly needs to be heard so that we can have healthy, dynamic, turned on, powerful relationships, which really does make our lives a beautiful, beautiful experience. So make sure that you click on the link in the comment section for that and go explore that today. There will be a truth talk every single week coming out, plus lots of different little things in there. As time goes on, it will just grow as the community grows as well. Other things that I have coming out, let me see. I don't know. Is there anything that I really need to tell you about in this moment? I don't think that there is, in truth. There's nothing much I need to tell you about. There you go. It's just a free group that I have going on. Everybody knows that I do coaching. If you want any help on anything, just reach out to me. One-on-one group coaching, it's all available still. I hope that everybody is having a wonderful start to their week and that I've given you a little bit to think about in this conversation here. I love you guys, and remember, you are worthy of a dynamic relationship. You are worthy of a powerful, turned on life, and to have the relationship that you want, and to feel the pleasure that you desire and that you deserve. You are worthy of having that incredible fuck yes life. As always, everybody, I love you. Stop existing, start living, know your worthiness, and I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee.